Every year, nearly 14.8% of Americans experience depressive symptoms, and that's just the number of people reporting it. Studies show that in 2020, nearly 4 in 10 Americans admit to struggling with anxiety and/or depression. Of the states that top the list, it's likely that Mississippi and West Virginia have the most reported cases because of poverty. I know it's hard to imagine, but in 2021, nearly 43% of Americans lived in poverty. Depression is a growing problem, and it might end up being a public health crisis in America. Me personally, I suffered from severe anxiety and depression in 2011. It was so severe it lingered and had a major effect on my adult life. In the early 2000s, I was a heavy drug user. As with most, it started with marijuana and it grew to me becoming addicted to very strong opioids. So I had personal experience dealing with depression and anxiety as well as drug addiction and other life-wrecking issues that I had to cope with. Actually, in 2018, I hit rock bottom for the third time in my life. I would say financially, 2016 was the best year of my life, and I had just recovered from hitting rock bottom in 2011. Living in a trailer park in Gautier, Mississippi, I was miserable. The way I overcame it, basically the same way I did in 2011, I turned to God. It was different this time though. I was listening to a song by Hillsong United called Even When It Hurts. I was drug free, but I turned to heavy alcohol use and I was completely broken. I felt like my life was a failure. I was working a $9 an hour job from home, so I was stuck in that trailer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not making the money necessary to pay my bills. While on YouTube, I heard a song and it basically saved my life, man. I was really in a very, very dark place. On August the 6th of 2018, I asked Jesus to forgive me of my sins and save my soul from hell. This time, I realized that it wasn't about being obedient as much as it was about worship. So I focused on having a serious relationship with Jesus. The relationship I needed didn't come from obedience totally. I felt miserably at that. The relationship I needed came from love. One day while I was worshiping him in that trailer in 2019, I had an experience with him. Laying in the bed, I felt a rush of joy that I never experienced to that point before. Over and over, the words that I could think of, the only thing I could think of in my mind were, I forgive you. It was like a still small voice that was speaking inside of me. It totally changed my outlook on life. I got online and began searching for a traveling job, and God gave me one. I was on the verge of giving up and dying, and now I'm living my dreams. I visited over 21 states in 2 years, from Tampa, Florida to Albuquerque, New Mexico, from across Wisconsin to Asheville, North Carolina. I actually stayed in over 30 cities. Well, while I was staying in New Mexico, I visited Colorado. I went to Silverton, Colorado to visit a waterfall. I ended up driving 4 hours up the side of a mountain, 10,000 feet above sea level, hiked deep into the Colorado wilderness, and I was petrified. But when I finally made it to the waterfall, I experienced the presence of God. I worship him. To think of some disadvantaged boy who grew up in poverty with no father, started in the slums of South Mississippi, is standing here in this anointed place that I could only dream of visiting, a place where less than 1% of the earth's population will ever see. It humbled me. I had a $70 cell phone and I pulled it out and started recording. I felt as if I had to share my experience with as many people as I can. It was life-changing. I returned to Mississippi and started Live With Memories LLC. It's like I had a mission. God was leading me to a new life. He was teaching me lessons. I was always a quick-tempered person who tried to stand up for himself and others when he was being done wrong. So I had to learn to protect my peace. That was the last lesson God was teaching me. When I mastered that lesson, I was ready. So that's how I got to my happy place and worship forever. It's like identifying a potential future public health crisis in my community, my state, my nation, loving thy neighbor, help them and teach them through my experiences on how to overcome these things. How do I fight my battles? Through worship. The final video will be my journey to peace. Hopefully I will get to release all 3 this year. You could catch us on Instagram at ameliorate_7. Also, our email address is livewithmemories@yahoo.com. I thank you guys for watching. If you were inspired or if you accepted Christ from a social media post or maybe some literature, please reach out and let me know. I want to pray for you. And always remember that Jesus loves you.